Today I want to tell you a story about my experience with butchering a cow on a farm. My father had planned on going out to the farm, and I wanted to join my parents and see a cow get butchered. I've seen chickens get butchered, and I've already seen pigs get butchered. My parents said it was okay, sure, I could join. I was so excited throughout the night before. My mom called the school and told them I was sick, but I was fine. I was so excited to join my parents on the farm. We arrived to a small town named Hillard that is right next to another small town named Mondour. One town north is my parents' farm, and my aunt and uncle's farm is a little south of my parents. We went into my aunt and uncle's farm. There was a cow ready to get butchered. The cow was standing and tied to a fence with a rope. Wow! We went over to where the cow and the tractor was. The tractor, the cradle, and the guns were ready. We double-checked to make sure everything was ready. I was curious as I stood there and watched. My uncle is skilled with guns. He shot the cow right in the forehead. I saw the cow collapse. Then I tried to get closer, but my uncle pushed me back and I backed up. I asked why, and my uncle said that the cow will fall on its side. I didn't believe him. But then the cow fell on its side, and my uncle got a chain and wrapped it around the cow's legs. The tractor pulled up, and the cow was chained to the tractor cradle. When the cradle was lifting the cow's legs jerked, and the cradle shook. While I watched, I couldn't imagine walking up to the cow, getting kicked, and thrown back. Then the tractor backed up and moved over to the pig pen. The cow's stomach was open, and the pile of guts falling out was intestines, guts, plus a big sack that looked like a balloon. The tractor left. The pile of guts was left for the pigs to eat until it ran out. The tractor parked far away from the smell. The skin of the fur was getting cut open, and it was in the middle of October and cold out. While cutting and opening the skin, there was a wave of heat as I was standing close to the cow. When I finished, I looked around. I saw a balloon. I gave my parents the knife back and told them I was finished cutting the skin. My parents and uncle said okay, and they continued cutting the cow. I looked around and I looked down. I seen the pile of guts. I started to poke at the sack. It wiggled and it felt like a balloon. While looking at the sack, I got curious. I looked around. I saw my dad was busy. I kept looking at the sack. I walked over to the fence post, and there was a knife on the top of the post. I took the knife and I walked back to the sack. My dad glanced over and looked away. Then my mom saw me and tried to yell, "No, no!" But I couldn't hear because I'm deaf. I popped the sack and it deflated. The sack squirted poop up my nose. While the sack was deflating, I dropped the knife and I started running away from the odor. The odor was all over the place. My dad and uncle suffered while they were cutting the skin. I stood there for 30 minutes and apologized. My dad kept saying, "You're stupid, you're stupid." And I kept saying sorry. My mom waved for me to come back over. I walked toward where they were, and the odor was still in the air. It went up my nose and into my chest. I blew my nose for hours. The smell finally faded away. I apologized again, and my dad laughed. He said it was okay. I didn't know what it was, but my dad explained it was diarrhea in the sack. Then I realized why cow stomachs are so big. It's not just a lot of meat. It was large because of food, intestines, and a poop sack. Now I realize why cows have big, round stomachs. I laughed about it. When I look back on that day, it was a funny memory and a good experience. I learned my lesson. I thought that was a funny story to tell about my past.